Children, this is part 2 video of civics chapter number 1. So why do we need a constitution? This is the topic for today. Now before discussing the topic, let's take an example from our daily life, our daily routine. When you play a game, do you follow certain rules and regulations or not? Imagine playing a game without following any rules and regulations. There will be a lots of chaos and you will start fighting, isn't it? So you understood how important these rules and regulations are. In every sphere of life, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. Otherwise, the things will not be organized properly. So to govern a country, we need certain rules and regulations that suggest what to do, what not, how to do, when to do, etc. Briefly speaking, constitution is a set of rules and regulations to govern a country. Today most countries in the world have a constitution. Students, we know that all democratic countries have a constitution. But it is not necessary that all the countries having constitution are democratic. The constitution serves several purposes. It lays out certain ideals that forms the basis of the kind of country that we as citizens aspire to live in. It tells the nature of our society. Now the next topic is function of laws. First one is to ensure safety of citizens. Second, equal treatment and opportunity for all irrespective of caste and religion. Third, to prevent concentration of power in the hands of ruling body or government. Fourth, to ensure that unfair social practices are not carried on. For example, one of the social evil in the society is dowry practice. In order to empower the women and to protect their rights and interests, a law has been passed called Dowry Prohibition Act. Dowry is given by choice, not by force. It is given as a gift to the bride and the groom to secure them financially. We have often heard about deaths due to dowry demand and ill treatment of women by their husbands and in-laws. But now it has become a forced custom in which dowry is demanded in terms of expensive gifts, property, money by the groom's family and given by bride's family at the time of marriage. In order to stop this evil practice in India, the dowry system was banned by passing the Dowry Prohibition Act in 1961. Now the topic is the purpose the constitution was framed for. Our constitution serves several purposes, like India is a land of varied beliefs, culture, religions, etc. Hence, there is always a chance of conflicts and clashes. In order to resolve this, the Indian Constitution was drafted and tabled before Constituent Assembly. In a democratic country like India, several political parties and leaders exercise their power. There is a possibility that they can misuse their powers. Our Constitution guards against the misuse of power by any politician. It safeguards the interests of minorities and prevents any kind of domination by the majority. It provides rights to the citizens and protects their freedom. The next topic is amendments. Amendments means changes. The Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949 and came into force on 26 January 1950. Since then, many political, social and economic changes have occurred in our country. Due to these socio-economic changes, certain rules mentioned in our constitution do not apply in the present scenario and requires flexibility to incorporate changes. For example, a change in marriage law has made it easier for women to get divorce. The definition of the amendment. Changes or modifications made in the existing constitution which do not apply to the present scenario and needs to be changed by incorporating certain alterations is termed as amendments. The next topic is law and the constitution. To ensure that concentration of power is not confined to just one body, the constitution has divided the government into three different organs. They are: first, the legislature. In that, a parliament which enacts law are there. Second, the executive. The executive is also known as the makers and implementers of law. This include bureaucrats, police, etc., which implements these laws and maintain law and order in their jurisdiction. The judiciary. The judiciary is the system of courts, Supreme Court, High Court, and district courts, which are empowered to enforce law. So the next topic is the human rights. Now children, you know that every person is entitled to certain fundamental rights. These are called human rights. These rights are needed for the complete unrestricted development of an individual. Rights refers to the legal, social, moral freedom or privileges granted to us by the Constitution so that we can live our lives with dignity. The Constitution has granted us certain rights, but only some of these are absolute while some are not. So we have two types of rights. One is absolute rights and the other is non-absolute rights. Now children, what are absolute rights? These are the rights that can never be limited or restricted, whatever the circumstances are, even in a state of war or emergency. For example, the right not to be tortured or treated in an inhuman or degrading way. This is an absolute right. You will not be tortured, you will not be treated in inhuman way. Now, non-absolute rights. The Constitution provides for a suspension of fundamental rights during certain circumstances. However, such a suspension automatically ends when the situation ceases or when the President orders it. For example, the right to liberty, freedom of expression, and the right to peaceful enjoyment of possessions can be suspended during the time of an emergency. The next topic is law and dissent. Children, what do you understand by dissent? Dissent means disagreement. When at times it happens that we do not agree with certain laws that curtail our freedom, we display our anger by protesting against these laws in various ways. Like for recent example I will give, the entire nation protested against CAA Act that was passed by Parliament, which has faced a mass protest and opposition by people because it is curtailing our fundamental rights. This is the recent one. Now you know that dissent means disagreeing with or opposing a law. It happens when certain law is passed and people disagree and show their protest. CAA is going to become a law and the protest by people is called dissent. From your textbook example we will take SALT Act. It was a law, which was brought by the Britishers. This act prohibited Indians from collecting or selling salt. They were forced to buy salt by paying a heavy salt tax. Gandhiji started Dandi March in Gujarat and it was a peaceful dissent.